allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Jeff Renahan, First Ward.
Bill Carlos, Second Ward.
Matthew Wolliver, Fifth Ward.
Ann Schurshin, Sixth Ward.
Alicia Salvatore, Town Clerk.
Jim Nelson, Attorney for the Town.
John Baisley, Town Supervisor. Welcome, everybody. Tonight's agenda is rather short. First thing on the agenda is a public hearing for 1 Dutchess Avenue. I'd like to make a motion, open first public hearing.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody who'd like to discuss the first public hearing? Sir.
Good evening, Louis Kaufman for the owner-developer, the O'Neill Group Dutton. I'm here tonight on our application for a change of zone from heavy industrial to waterfront housing overlay district. Pretty much everything that I have is incorporated into the application and the amendment to the application which I had submitted. We've gone before the planning board and they've recommended that the district be overlaid on our lot. If you want a synopsis of the project again, I can, or I can just listen to what you have to say and what the public has to say.
Any questions? Well, thank you, and we'll let the public speak and see what they have to say. Thank you. Anybody else like to discuss this? Doreen, come on up. Lou, you can sit down if you want. We're just going to take comments. Good evening, Michael. Doreen.
Okay, thank you. I wasn't aware of all the details of the amended application, but I would just like to address a few things from when they were last before the board in January. And at that meeting, the property manager for the project, Jessica Gordonier, stated that regarding the Fairview Fire District, said it will provide revenue to Fairview with a minimum, and I quote, with a minimum of services needed as the city of Poughkeepsie are first responders to that property. Well, I don't know how that conclusion was reached because I filed a FOIL request with the Fairview Fire District in January and then again in June. And the response to that by the chief, who is the records access officer, said that no such agreement exists. So that statement made at the January meeting by the property asset manager appears to have no factual basis. Regarding rec fees have been a bone of contention on this project for years and years. And back in one of the last discussions, prior to January, was when Councilman Safone, whose ward this is in, had asked the project's attorney if they were going to be asking the town board to waive the rec fees again. And the attorney responded that no, he would not be asking the town board to waive the rec fees because that's up to the planning board. So you have to realize that if you come to the conclusion that the project meets all the qualifications and you're going to put in the overlay district, then as far as the rec fees, the recreation fees, then that will be out of your hands and will be up to the planning board. And it's entirely possible that the planning board will waive the rec fees. Now, originally, the rec fees were supposed to be about $420,000. Mm-hmm. That was back in 2015. And then the town code was changed, and it was changed to actually to the benefit of the applicant. And so now it is changed to $1,250 per bedroom. So at the calculation that they gave at the committee of the whole meeting, as far as the number of bedrooms, the rec fees would now be about $210,000 versus the $420,000 in 2015. So now, as far as the trail on the property, I would hope that the town would not take ownership of that because, again, that was a contaminated site. that was a brownfield cleanup, and the DEC, as a result of that, is looking for continued monitoring. And you know what happened with the Dutchess County Airport with the monitoring? For years and years, you were faced with fees in order, because that was also a brownfield cleanup program. So you don't know how much that would be. And I also don't want to have to foot the bill for that as a town resident.
The town would pay that?
If the town took over ownership of the trail, that's to the best of my knowledge. If the town took over ownership, you would have to meet the qualifications of the DEC. That's my understanding. So, and then I also see that the town has asked the applicant, the recommendation, it appears, is that the town's going to ask the applicant to prepare a description of how the project has changed over the years since they had the DEIS and the FEIS. And so that you can make an informed judgment. And I'm just wondering then, how did the planning board come up with their determination? If you're still seeking, analysis for these current conditions, leads me to wonder how it is that the planning board made their determination that you should just go ahead and put the overlay district in place. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Doreen.
Anybody else like to discuss this project? If not, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn this public hearing to August 7th, 2019. The planning board was still waiting for some documents.
That'd be at 6:30, the regular town board time? Or 7, I'm sorry.
Yep. What date did you say that
It was going over till August
7th, correct, Mike? Yeah,
at 7.
yep.
Yes.
And who seconded that motion?
I'll second it.
There you go.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. That comes to the end of our public hearing. As far as tonight's agenda goes, item number 2 on the agenda is authorize request for proposal for drainage aerial study. 3, set a date for public hearing to amend Town Code Chapter 195, 36, 195, 44, Marple Road, traffic signal stop signs. 4, waive the 30-day liquor license for the Tasty Crab. 5, ratify a change order execution for the Arlington wastewater treatment plant rehabilitation. 6, waive and approve the event fees for the Special Olympics being held at Vassar College. 7, refer designate Mazda Automobile Sales Facilities, the planning board lead agency. 8, consent the planning board, the lead agency Fox Run, Shady Brook Mobile Home Park, Faith Assembly of God. 9, special consents, SC1, appoint Mary Jackson as Deputy Zoning Board Administrator. SC2, authorize a budget modification interfund. SC3, authorize a budget modification of a HUD account. SC4, notification the following claims been referred to legal, Becker versus the town. I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules for public comment on any item on the agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Is there anybody that would like to discuss any item that's on tonight's agenda? Mr. Rubin.
Rob Rubin from One Trump Court, Town of Poughkeepsie. Thank you very much for allowing me the opportunity to talk tonight. I'm here representing myself as well as the Wappinger Central School District. Myself in terms of item number 2 on the agenda, 60502, request for proposals for the drainage aerial study. I think that's a wonderful thing that you're doing, and I'd just like to make a mention here that if it's at all useful to you, a number of us, especially after Hurricane Irene, had various engineering studies done at the time. That was a long time ago, Hurricane Irene, but that information is available. I believe that information is still available, and if it's useful to you, I, for one, would like to say that that I will offer that up to you. Number 2, in terms of being a representative from the Wappinger Central School District, I would just ask, we would like to just be, if there's any kind of a liaison that's available there, just because we have properties in that area, schools in those areas, water tends to be a funny thing that if it's not flowing in one place, it flows in another. And just to be there to make sure that, to see if there's an impact on any of the properties in the Wappinger Central School District. So I make that offer to you as well. We have a legislative liaison person on our school board, but he's not here tonight.
No, I have met him, he's been in multiple times, and I am the liaison with the Wappinger School Board right now. We currently meet every other month with the superintendent.
That's correct.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
that's with the superintendent, but at the board level, there is one person
He's
who's.
He's been in multiple times.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right,
He has
thanks.
stopped in probably about 4 or 5 months ago to discuss some of the things that were going on when they were doing the vaping and so on. We discussed that project with him.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks, Rob. Anybody else? Sir, come on up.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
Name is Bob Schaefer. I live on 18 Alder Drive, and I'm here to just talk gently about the proposal for the drainage, because I've been following it with Bill quite for a long time now. From what I gather, there's going to be a lot of problems, because I've gone around and talked to the local neighbors, and they're saying, "Oh yeah, well, what's in it for me?" type thing, and they're not really reacting the way I want them to. I had several of them that I was going to bring to the meeting, and hey, they work late, so they don't get here. So I'm here speaking for all of them, because I told them I would, that there's a tremendous amount of drainage problems from our house and the house that is now vacant next door, 6, which is now owned by Liberty Bank. I don't know if that Liberty sounds right or not, but they've put a big sticker up that says, hey, nobody could trespass on this property anymore. And of course, the hay is this high, all the way around. A very, very bad situation. So I went to the zoning board and talked to them about it. And I went twice, because the first time I didn't have all of the data that when it was going to go to the bank. Now, the bank people that were there, Central Hudson was there and just turned off the heat. All the electricity is shut down again. It was shut down a couple of months back when we had some bad weather and the house got inundated, flooded out, frozen. Everything was terrible shape. Personally, if I had my druthers, I'd find a way to get that house buried and put a new one there, okay? Because it's still a nice little lot there. But the problem is that most people today, I find, are not very accurate in what they tell you when you ask them to come on over. Yeah, I'll be there. Mm-hmm. Well, where are they? Bill and I have been on this project now for quite a while. The water behind our house is stagnant, hasn't moved since it was winter months. The water has been flowing from the drainage coming actually from 16 Alder Drive to 18 to 22. It's right on through to that big pipe that we have down there, 24 inches or so, or whatever it is, that the water does go down through that, and that is backed up. There's no doubt about it. The one guy I did talk to that lives at 22 Alda, his name is Dan, but I've forgotten his full name. But he's willing to get down there and with a little shovel and do some work. But we've done that. That's not the answer. The answer is getting a pure flow of water. Right now, there is no water flow. Other than that, everybody there tend to be older people, and they're not interested because they don't want to get involved. I don't know what else to tell you except that we got to follow through, and the aerial thing will help. I haven't been up on an airplane in a long time, 6 years in the Air Force, so I had a little time with, especially the kind of airplanes that fly. So anyway, that's all I really have. I'm just trying to say that I'm all for it, and I back Bill in all due respects for the last couple of years in this.
Thank you, Mr. Schaefer.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Doreen?
Actually, I don't even know why you're going forward with this RFP right now. At the November 2018 Committee of the Whole meeting, there were a number of concerns that were brought up and suggestions as things to do first before you even got this far. One of the things was supposed to be to determine the number of easements that would be required. And I'm not aware that has that number been?
Has not been done yet, Doreen. That was one of my concerns. Before we spend money, easements are an issue. As far as putting the RFP out, that could be part of the request in the RFP, how many easements we're going to need, going forward, because easements are an issue and the funding is still a major issue, whether it's a neighborhood-funded project or it's a town-funded project. There's still answers to be out there. The RFP is just a request for proposals for someone what he wants.
Right, I understand, and I don't believe that the RFP, that there was any cost to prepare the RFP itself. But again, I've been at these infrastructure meetings. The cost has been estimated just for the study, the survey, the data, for all three. It could be as much as $500,000. And regardless of the cost, I question whether this is the right path to be taking. There were a number of things, too. You talked about potentially removing brush, trees that are in the stream right now. That was something that was suggested to, go forward first. So, even the DEC has concerns about, you do something with the water here, are you going to affect someone else? And, I don't know if you remember, there was a gentleman, I think it was Greg Daw, 2013. He pleaded, he's lived on Hillis Terrace, he pleaded with the town board to do something. And he was told, we can't do something, for you specifically for your drainage issue. Now I hear that, there's somebody on Deer Run Road that has, a lot of water, in his backyard. Well, guess what? You built in a floodplain. These are the things that happen. You go in and you start dredging the stream, who knows what's going to happen? And I think it's just I think this is going to be a much bigger project than anticipated. And even if you do find grant funding, I don't know it's going to help. And we keep hearing about people dumping leaves and things and garbage in there. I don't know if all of these other steps have been carried out first, but it sounds like, the number of easements have not been identified, the cost of the easements, it just, I don't know. I just think that that going out for RFP is a little premature. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Yeah, I got a couple of things.
Well, hold on. We still have a resident. Once we resume the rules. Once we resume the rules, we'll speak.
Hello,
Sir.
my name is Greg Delary, 83 Sutton Park Road. So I've been to the board before, working with Bill and talking about the flooding areas in our backyards, right? I mean, the challenges that are happening is we've seen the properties behind us, the amount of standing water that is in that property now, right? People are moving in, they have kids, and now you got standing water, you got problems with Zika and other viruses with the mosquitoes and things like that could potentially be coming, right? The FDA is obviously spending a lot of money on Zika tests. So we're looking at this stuff, right? And I've sent pictures to Bill and I've said, look, it's going around this post, it's going into this property line, our properties, right? Most of the people on the block are paying more taxes. Property values are going up, which is a good thing. But we also need the help to build the stream so it can start moving properly through. I know Bill and I have worked together along with a few of the folks here with Rob and Kathy, and we've done trees for tribs, and we've tried to put those along the stream. We've tried to keep it clean. We constantly go over to the neighbors and we talk to them. And we say, look, we got to make sure we keep it clean. We've cleared out a lot of the debris ourselves out of the stream. And understanding the study, and as Bill presented a couple months ago, right, the culverts are, one's low, one's high. So until this one floods all the way up and everyone behind it is flooded, then it finally flows through. All right, so it's just being simple and practical, and finally doing the study, I think, is the right thing to do, because at least it starts getting the ball moving, and then it helps us understand what do we really need to do to put into this construction project. Without understanding that data, how do we even know where to begin? Right, and therefore, starting this process is a huge step in the right direction, especially, you know, with our kids and everyone else that's in the block, and making sure you have a sustainable community. Right, so that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? If not, resume rules.
Yeah, I have,
All those in favor?
I have a couple things I need to say about this.
Go ahead.
We're asking for study, RFPs. We don't pay for the RFPs. We get the information from the RFPs. Of all of the drainage problems we have, 3 seem to be at the top of the list by the most people that are affected by it. Water is simple. It starts high on dry ground, up like where the Girl Scout property is, Colburn Drive, just down the hill from Colburn Drive, and comes down from that. Unfortunately, over all the years we've been here, first we had this development go in perpendicular to the water, and water will go around that. Then we allowed another development to go the other way. This has been something that's been 60 years. I've been dealing with it since I'm on the board. The easiest way to understand this is to actually have engineers look at it and give us a proposal as to what they want. One of the things we're asking in the proposal is for their plans to mitigate. What would it take to mitigate the draining with floods? 10, 15, 20, 100-year floods, whatever the number is. And as this process goes on, the reason there's 2, there's an aerial drainage, there's a drainage study, and there's an aerial study. The aerial study uses drones, not planes, and they measure the height of the land so they can show a contour. That's integral to the drainage study, but it's a completely separate thing, so we had to have 2. Between the 2 of them, we should have a pretty good idea, and our staff will have a very good idea of what engineers see as the problem. We are so far away from trying to fix it. This is just but the first step. I don't think it's in the best interest of the taxpayers for us to make a decision as to how we're going to do something without a plan, and have the plan go through the whole process, come back to the town board, figure out if we're going to fund it, how we're going to fund it. Those are all steps as we go down this road. What we have right now is hodgepodge. For example, on Deer Run Road, we have grates that were installed on the road that belong to us, and they go into corrugated pipe that runs between the houses in our easement and out into a stream in the back. Well, the pipes have collapsed. So Mark is going to have to take a crew in, dig the pipes up, and put new pipes in. That kind of problem, while we covered what we have in drainage, that's little by little by little by little. Nobody has taken a step back and looked at the whole problem and said, okay, what makes sense? What can we afford? What can we do? I have 138 people who have contacted me over the period of time I'm on the board, all with water problems. Different areas, different parts. Some of it will be improved. For example, Stewart Drive. Spackenkill wants to put a football field in, a turf field or something, and underneath the field, they're going to put water storage, like a basin. They use like Quonset huts to build it up so the water can store there because of the creek that goes through there that goes down to the Gasper Gill. Some of these problems will be solved by things like that. Some won't. Some Mark can fix, some he can't. What I'm hoping to come from this is somebody other than us that deal with the problem every day, take a step back and look at it, and then be able to tell the board what would be a good idea, how to deal with this. Once it comes down to actually figuring out how we're going to do it, we need to know what we're going to do before we can figure out how to do it. So I've spent a lot of time. I realize that we don't have to vote for RFPs, but I wanted to make it a point to bring it in front of the board and in front of the public so that they understand that we're actually going to try and start this process. And whatever input anybody on the board wants, any member of the public wants, please give it to me. I'm just happy that we're making this first step, and it's but the first step. Thank you.
Can I add just a little something to that? I think the best possible outcome from this would be that these studies come back and tell us that the little stopgap measures that we're considering will solve the problem. What we need from this study is the scope of the problem. Can it be solved by replacing pipes that have collapsed and clearing debris from existing infrastructure, or do we need a bigger measure? That, I think, would take...
I walked the stream with the man from DEC, actually a man and a lady came down, that starts where Alda Drive pipe comes and goes down by Minetti, by Kinry Road School back in there. Mm-hmm. And you can see where over years the trees have fallen and then they've rotted and they cause little dams. So I said to him, because I got criticism for wanting to clean out the streams, and I said, do we need a special permit how do we do this? He said, for clearing debris from the streams, you don't need a permit. You can do that on your own. Mm. If you want us to come here and tell you what you can and can't do, we'll come anytime you want us. So,
but the study will tell us if that kind of thing will be enough or if we need to take more drastic measures.
And broken down by the different areas.
Right, the watersheds.
So I just think it's the right step now. It tells the people we're interested, we know, and we're going to see what we can do.
I agree.
Anybody else? Mr. Ranahan?
So, be resolved that the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie does hereby authorize the town clerk or her designee to advertise for proposal returnable June 28th, 2019 by 4 p.m. for drainage study, Hillis Terrace, Sutton Park drainage area, aerial survey, Hillis Terrace, Sutton Park drainage area, drainage study, Alda Drive drainage area, aerial survey, Alda Drive drainage area, drainage study, Pasture Lane Park drainage area, aerial survey, Pasture Lane Park drainage area, which will be available on June 7, 2019 in the office of the town clerk and online, a proposed sample being annexed hereto, and be it further resolved that the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie does hereby reserve the right to accept or reject all proposals in whole or in part, and be it further resolved that the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie does hereby determine that this work involves conducting studies which will not commit the town to undertake or fund any unlisted or type 1 action, and that is a type 2 action requiring no environmental review. So moved.
Second.
Motion second. Felicia, you were saying the 12th, the 7th is too early?
This is really a debacle for me because there's not really a bit of advertisement in here to put anywhere for me. It's not something I'm used to, so the dates I don't think really matter.
Okay.
I mean, I would think that you would want to reach out to engineer companies. My question is, and it might be not a good one, but the company that's doing the consolidation, you guys got a grant for $150,000 to pay them to do that study. Are engineer companies going to want to do all this work for no money? Is just a question I have.
No, the study, the RFP is just a request for proposal.
For people that will then
We
do,
would,
I'm
and
just
they'll say,
asking.
we propose you do this, and we would propose you do that.
I just know it's a very busy world out there today, and I don't know how many people are going to really reach out. It's just
So-
my opinion.
That may happen, but I think seeing who can do this, and it's going to be the firms that are working for the people now. They're individually hired people, and they get a chance to do this. So I don't see us advertising this. We can put it on the sign. I'll get the list and just make sure we send a copy to the,
Okay.
I mean, certainly put it on the website, that it's
Yeah.
available.
and then send, I know the firms because they've all spoken with me, so. I'll
Because I
just
don't
make
know
sure
if
they
I
get
want to
copies.
spend any money to put it in the paper, because there's nothing really.
I don't think we
No.
need to do
I
that.
don't think it's in your
At
budget
this
for
point, I
us.
don't think
It's
that's
so
a good
small
idea.
an audience that it would be a waste in the newspaper.
In RFP, you just pick out your companies and send it to so many.
And send it to the ones that I know have been working for some of the, they've hired individual companies to help them with their flood plan. To try and get a letter of a map revision. So the people that paid for this and those companies have spoken to me, so I have a pretty good
And
idea.
it's a pretty easy packet, I would think, to scan to mark, right? Do you have it on electronic in somewhere, Bill? You do already?
Yeah,
Yeah, Joyce has it.
Okay, electronic.
Okay,
That was my only question.
all right.
Sorry.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
Resolution 3, be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby set the 19th day of June, 2019 at 7 p.m. at the Town Hall, Town of Poughkeepsie, 1 Over Rocker Road, Poughkeepsie, New York, as and for the time, date, and place of a public hearing to consider amendments to the Town Code, Chapter 195, entitled Vehicles and Traffic, specifically 195 Sub 36, Schedule 1, Traffic Control Signals, and 195 Sub 44, Schedule 9, Stop Intersections, with the language to be added underlined and the language to be deleted stricken as follows. Delete from Section 195-36, Schedule 1, Traffic Control Signals, intersection, and this is delete or strike Marple Road and North Grand Avenue. Add to 195-44, Section 9, stop intersection, stop sign on, direction of travel at intersection, Marple Road, both directions at North Grand Avenue, both directions at Marple Road. And be it further resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie does determine that this traffic control change is a Type 2 action requiring no environmental review, and be it further resolved that said local law, if adopted, shall become effective immediately upon filing with the Secretary of State. So moved.
Second.
Motion second. Any questions on this one?
What brought this about? It seems like a busy intersection.
Yeah. Quite some time ago, I had talked to Sergeant Persetti about removing a lot of the older lights because the delays on those lights are very, they switch too quick.
Okay.
And there's no delay on both of them. And to change the lights, there's a very hefty cost, over $100,000 per light.
Wow.
So as we're getting older in the town, those lights are starting to come down and fall apart.
Right.
We had talked about taking this down last summer, but we were a little hesitant to take it down right away. Unfortunately, somebody actually hit the pole, broke the light down. No one got hurt.
Yeah.
But we've had the light go out before. We've had four-way stop signs there before, and there's never been an issue.
Okay.
You have your peak time, of course, but people who actually live near a light will tell you they'd love to have the stop signs because when people are backed up, their car radios are blaring. They're throwing stuff out of their car. They're picking a nice time to clean their ashtray out. Okay, so the stop signs actually move cars along, and when they move up, they turn down their radio. They're a little more conscious of where they are. So at this point, we're going to give this a try and see if it doesn't work out. We'll go back to probably trying to do a light again, but it's going to be a big cost to the town. So actually, in my ward, I have asked Sergeant Persetti to look at a number of other lights that are due to come down. And we're going to try to go to the four ways. They do seem to work a lot better, and it's a lot quieter for the neighbors that live there. I went through this at varying times the last couple of days, and there hasn't been a problem. There hasn't been a backup.
All right.
So it's
Seems to be
broken,
moving people along.
right now, right?
Well, right, but the four-way
Yeah.
stops have been up all four-way, and I've gone through at odd hours, day and night, and peak hours, and I haven't really sat there long, and it's been moving pretty good. People have been pretty courteous, so hopefully it'll work.
Thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
Be it resolved, the Town Board, Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby acknowledge receipt of a request on behalf of the Tasty Crab Poughkeepsie Incorporated, 2600 South Road, Poughkeepsie, New York, for a waiver of the 30-day review period for a liquor license application. And be it further resolved that the Town Board, Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby approve the town clerk's forwarding of a waiver and consent pursuant to the attached request. So moved.
Second.
The motion is second. Any questions on this? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
Resolution 5, be it resolved, the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby ratify the supervisor's execution of change order number 4 for the project known as the Arlington Wastewater Treatment Program Rehab, or Treatment Plant Rehab, whereby the construction contract cost with Blue Heron has decreased in the amount of $4,284.31. A copy of said change order number 4 is attached. So moved.
Second.
We got a motion and a second. Any question on this one? One thing I can say in today's day and age with the price of everything going up, it's great to see that we actually got a decrease in something, a change order going down as opposed to going up. As big as a project it is, $4,000 is $4,000. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
Whereas the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie has heretofore received an application from Special Olympics New York to hold an event called the Special Olympics New York Summer Games 2019 on June 12th through June 15th, 2019, to be held on the grounds of Vassar College, Poughkeepsie, New York. And whereas the presence of food and/or booth vendors is a vital part of a successful event. Now, therefore, be resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie does not include food and/or booth vendors participating in the Special Olympics New York Summer Games 2019 event as peddlers and hawkers, and these vendors are thereby exempt from the provisions of Chapter 151 of the Town Code, and be resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby waive all permit fees related to Special Olympics New York Summer Games 2019 pursuant to the request from Special Olympics New York, a copy of which is attached, and be further resolved, the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby approve the application as submitted pending receipt of certificate of liability insurance, naming the Town of Poughkeepsie as an additional insured. So moved.
Second.
A motion and second. Any questions on this? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Whereas the Town Board has received an application from 2520 Turnpike Realty LLC requesting a change of zoning for plus or minus 5.91 acre portion of tax parcel number 6160-03-10001 located on South Road, Poughkeepsie, New York 12603 in the Town of Poughkeepsie, consisting of approximately 10.09 acres of land from residence multifamily to highway business multifamily. Whereas the proposed amendment is attached here to and incorporated herein, the Town Board does hereby waive verbatim reading of said amendment and does direct that said amendment be spread across the record as if it in fact had been read verbatim. Whereas a change of zoning would have involved a 5.91 acre site, and the action to amend the zoning map is an unlisted action of the New York State Environmental Quality Review Act. And whereas the Town Board has determined that the proposed amendment must be referred to the Dutchess County Department of Planning and Economic Development to the Town Planning Board for review and recommendation. And whereas the Town Board has examined 6 NYC RR 617.2U and 617.6B5V of the State Environmental Quality Review Act (SEQA) regulations, and has determined the Town of Poughkeepsie Planning Board through its site plan review and approval authority under Chapter 210 of the Town of Poughkeepsie Town Code has extremely broad governmental powers to investigate the potential environmental effects associated with the application, has experience and capability necessary to conduct a thorough environmental assessment of the action. And whereas amending the zoning map requires a public hearing, now therefore be resolved, the Town Board has determined the action should be a subject of a coordinated review because proposed use of the property will, among other permits and approvals, require site plan and special use permit approval by the Town Planning Board. Therefore, Town Board consents to the Planning Board acting as a lead agency to coordinate the environmental review of the proposed action pursuant to Article 8 of the New York Environmental Conservation Law. And the Town Board refers this matter to the Dutchess County Department of Planning and Economic Development for a recommendation pursuant to GML 239M. 3. The Town Board refers this matter to the Town Planning Board for an advisory report pursuant to Town Code Section 210-154. 4. The Town Board hereby defers setting a public hearing on the proposed zoning amendment until it has received the recommendation and a determination of significance for the Planning Board as lead agency. So moved.
Second.
Motion second. Any questions on this? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
Be it resolved, the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby consent to the Town of Poughkeepsie Planning Board acting as seeker, lead agency. Notice of intent paperwork can be found on the Town Clerk's office for the project known as Fox Run at Fulton, aka Fairview Commons, Poughkeepsie, New York, tax parcel number 6162-05-116788-125791 and 119824 and 6162-09-168737. So moved.
Second.
A motion and second. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
Be resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby consent to the Town of Poughkeepsie Planning Board continue acting as the seeker review lead agency, and special use permit notice of intent paperwork can be found in the Town Clerk's office for the project known as Shady Brook Trailer Park, and special use permit 67 Old Manchester Road, Poughkeepsie, New York, parcel 6261-04-671364. So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion and second. Any questions on this? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0.
Be it resolved, Town Board, Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby consent to the Town of Poughkeepsie Planning Board acting as seeker lead agency. Notice of intent paperwork can be found in the Town Clerk's office for the project known as Faith Assembly of God subdivision, 254 Spagnkill Road, Poughkeepsie, New York, tax parcel number 616003250125. So moved.
Second.
Motion second. Any questions on that one?
Yeah, actually, I was at the planning board meeting about this one, and it appears these lots they're proposing have a significant change in grade, so I'm certainly hoping planning board can address that, because I don't know how desirable these will be as building lots. That's why they haven't been built on so far. So,
Okay. All those in favor?
aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
Resolution 9, be it resolved, the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby grant special consent to the following items, to wit: 1, Director Welty appoint Mary Ann Jackson as Deputy Zoning Administrator. 2, authorize Controller's Office budget modification interfund. 3, authorize Controller's Office budget modification HUD account. And 4, notification Town Clerk Salvatore, the following claim has been referred to legal, Becker versus Town. Be it further resolved that upon any objection of any member of the Town Board, an item may be removed from the list and voted on separately. So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion second. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
Be resolved, the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby appoint Mary Ann Jackson to the position of part-time Deputy Zoning Administrator, grade 9, step 1, with the Building Department at a salary of $27.31 per hour, effective Tuesday, June 11th, 2019, which appointment is subject to a probation period of not less than 8, no more than 26 weeks per civil service law. And be further resolved, the town supervisor is authorized to execute and file all documentation required by the Dutchess County Department of Human Resources in connection with this appointment. So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion second. Any questions?
Yes, should it be the zoning department or not the building department, right?
Zoning Department.
So we take building out, put zoning in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Make a motion for that change?
Sure.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Make a motion on the resolution?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0.
You're up,
Be resolved, the Town Board of Town of Poughkeepsie is hereby modify the 2019 budget pursuant to the attached budgetary transfer request form submitted by the Comptroller to transfer budget money for auto expenses to the interfund transfer account. Order is likely to be expended as follows: from F 8310-0441, water repairs, maintenance auto, $10,200. S 8110-0481, sewer contracted service, $10,000. 2, F 9910-0901, interfund, $10,200. And S 9910-0901, interfund, $10,000. So moved.
Second.
Second.
Motion is second. Any questions on these? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 6-0. These were just a couple of changes pursuant to the order, one of them in different accounts.
Be resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby modify the 2019 budget pursuant to the attached budgetary transfer request form submitted by the Comptroller to transfer budgeted money for HUD account. Orders would like it to be expensed as follow: from A 1315-0482, contracted service administration, $25,680. And B 1315-0482, contracted services administration, $25,680. To B 1990-0409, miscellaneous expense for $51,360. So moved.
Second.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions on this one? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6.
Special consent for notification. Following claim has been referred to legal, Becker versus the town.
So moved. Come to the end of our agenda. make a motion to suspend the rules for any item.
Second?
Those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody like to discuss any item? Doreen?
So Jay, for SC3, for the HUD account,
Yeah.
is that to administer the Section 8 housing?
That was from years ago, they had to pay back for administration, Section 8 housing. Doreen, it was in an account for years since we went back. This goes back 5 or 6 years. The auditors decided this year they wanted it to put in a different fund line, so we just had to move it to a different line.
So does the city still administer
Yeah.
that? Okay, because I know you had gotten into an agreement with
And
them.
this is actually our last payment
Okay.
for this.
All right, and then the other thing is, what's new on the consolidation study? I had asked you in like March and April, and you had expected they were going to bring it forward?
They were actually in here today,
Okay.
or yesterday, and we've got to look at some plans of what they had, and we're going to be meeting with the new fire chief in the next week or so to show him the plans and bring him up to speed. And then, not much after that, we should be in here to bring the board up to speed on where we stand with it.
So will that be at a committee of the whole meeting?
Yeah,
Do you know? Okay,
Yep.
so probably not this month then.
probably July.
Okay.
We're getting pretty close. They said they were in here yesterday, and they've drawn up some plans, and we've had some discussion, so it's just about to the point to bring it to the board and fill them into where we are. We've made some headway, and we have some designs done and things.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else?
I have one thing. The Taste of Arlington is tomorrow. So that's going to be, yes, it's $20 and there are 12 participating restaurants. It's a walking tour. So you walk to the different restaurants and sample their food. And we're selling tickets next to the Crafted Cups. So that open space, there'll be a booth set up there.
The food outside or inside?
Outside. It's rain or shine, fingers crossed. And it starts at 5 o'clock and goes to 8:30. So, and that's tomorrow. And yeah, and the farmer's market will also be going on at the same time.
Real quick, I'd just like to thank everyone who contributed to the Semper Fi Parents at Hudson Valley at the Highway Department transfer stations. To date, since we've been doing this, we've collected 2 huge boxes of supplies that we've donated, and we dropped them off this past Saturday. So they're very grateful, and we're still looking for more, so we'll be out there every transfer station from 7 to 12, so.
There's a small box outside of my office that has some stuff in it.
Okay,
I don't know if you knew.
We'll get it down there, thank you.
Okay.
If somebody doesn't make it to the transfer station, town hall, anytime you want, there's a sort box between the receiver
Tax
tax
receiver
and
and-
his office.
Where?
Yeah. Anybody got anything else? If not, a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Everybody have a great night.